Alright, let's tackle a burning question today. When was the last time Liverpool managed to score from a set piece? Just to be clear, we're not including Gakpo's deflected effort against West Ham or Trent's direct free kick against Fulham. If our memory serves us right, wasn't it Van Dijk's powerful header in the EFL Cup final against Chelsea? Well, that was 17 matches ago. Clearly, Liverpool has been facing some real challenges with set pieces this season, which are vital for breaking down stubborn defences, a problem the Reds have run into quite a bit lately. On the flip side, Liverpool has also had its struggles in defending set pieces. In fact, they've let in more goals from set plays than 5 mid-table clubs have this season. Now compare that to Feyenoord, they've got it figured out. Just take a look at where each club stands on this graph, which shows the top set-piece teams in Europe this season. So what's Feyenoord's secret to set-piece success under Arne Slot and his coaching team? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into in today's video. So make sure you do hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get right into the video. We can all agree that set plays are one of the most underrated tools in football. They're crucial when you're up against a solid defensive line and struggling to find openings. And here, set plays can be straightforward way to break into the opposition's penalty area. Focusing on Liverpool, the stats speak for themselves. Although they've been prolific in generating shots from set pieces, topping the league with 189 shots from such situations, their effectiveness tells a different story. They rank only 5th in expected goals from set plays with a total of 13.75 xg. This suggests that while Liverpool is getting opportunities, the quality of those chances or the likelihood of them being converted into goals isn't quite where it needs to be. This might shed some light on why Liverpool only ranks 8th in terms of goals scored from set plays, netting just 13. For a squad aiming for the title, that simply doesn't cut it. Just look at Arsenal, for example. They've been neck and neck with Manchester City, largely because of their prowess in set pieces. Arsenal boasts the best goal scoring record from set plays this season, having scored 20 goals from an XG of just 14.21. Now let us shift our focus to Feyenoord, because their story is markedly different. They lead the Eredivisie not only in shots from set pieces, with 181, but also in expected goals from these situations, tallying an impressive 18.55 xg. Clearly, their free kick strategies are causing significant trouble for opponents, although they've slightly underperformed their xg, scoring 14 goals. So how does Feyenoord manage to be such a menace from set pieces? Some might say that the quality of defending in the Eredivisie isn't the strongest, which could inflate their impressive numbers. While there's some truth to that, Feyenoord's consistent threat from set plays indicates a deeper proficiency. Not to mention they've given teams like Atletico Madrid a tough time with their set plays in the Champions League. Let's take a closer look at what they're doing right. Consider this particular set piece that led to Feyenoord's second goal. Notice all the space in Atletico's penalty area. That's a direct result of the Spaniards opting for man-to-man marking during free kicks. Now, while there are no free players here, Feyenoord still has an easy way to get into the box just by sending the ball into a dangerous area. The Feyenoord players didn't need to create space for themselves. It was already there, as we mentioned, due to Atletico's approach. All they needed to do was shake off their markers and run towards the space, and that's exactly what Hancho did. He took a few steps away and then sprinted into space, using a teammate as shield to block off the defender before making his run. For this set piece, the kicker's job was simply to get the ball into the open space inside the area. Hancho did his part perfectly, reaching the cross before Atletico's defenders, and he nailed the goal. See, it's pretty straightforward. A lot of the time, the opposition themselves do half the job by leaving plenty of space to exploit. In these scenarios, Feyenoord's players keep things simple. They just put the ball into that space and let their players go after it by losing their markers. But did you notice something? Only Hancho made that run from the right half space into the box. That's because the Feyenoord players trust each other to effectively attack the space without all rushing into the same spot, which would just bring more defenders into that open space. This video is sponsored by Clothing. Clothing is a Liverpool clothing site owned by match-going fans. Each design is limited edition and is perfect to wear on a match day, on the terraces at Anfield, down your local, or cozy in the comfort of your own home. As stated, each design is limited edition, and if a product is showing out of stock, they will not be restocking the item, so if you have your eye on something, grab it fast. Lastly, Clothing wants fellow Reds to be 100% satisfied with their orders, so if there is a reason you're not happy, they will refund you with no questions asked. Head over to copiclothing.com or down into the link in the description to get all of your Liverpool merchandise. Anyway, let's get back into today's video. Now let's take a look at another example from the same game. This time it was an in-swinging corner from the right hand side. And again, look at the space available because of Atletico's heavy man marking during set pieces. Here's how Stengs, the set piece taker, handled it. All he needed to do was aim his cross at the open space, knowing one of his teammates would be dashing towards the ball, and that's exactly what happened. Take note of how once again just a single Feyenoord player made the move for the space, cleverly using a teammate as shield to shake off his marker and enter the area unchallenged. This strategy kept the area less crowded, creating a dangerous opportunity for Arne's squad. Feyenoord managed to net another goal from a set piece in their second encounter with Atletico Madrid in the Champions League group stage. This time, Atletico's strategy involved even deeper, stricter man marking. Despite this, by identifying the available space and sending multiple players towards it, Viper sprinted from outside the box and using a teammate as a shield, managed to connect with the ball with his head. So we can all agree that Feyenoord's set piece prowess isn't just a domestic affair. Their effectiveness stretches to the Champions League too. They've consistently troubled Atletico Madrid with their set plays, a team known for its defensive strength. Now let's explore how they handle a different defensive strategy. Up to now we've seen how they deal with man-to-man marking, but what happens when they face a team using zonal marking? First, let's explain zonal marking. This method involves players covering specific areas of the penalty box rather than marking individual opponents. It's designed to effectively guard open spaces, making it harder for attackers to find gaps. Take a look at how each FC20 player is focused on guarding a designated zone. They're not particularly concerned about the number of Feyenoord players rushing towards them. So how does Feyenoord tackle situations against zonal marking? Again, their approach is straightforward. They aim for the open spaces, trust that one of their teammates will sprint for it, and then play for the best outcome. In this scenario, the set piece taker had two clear options: send the ball to the space near the post or aim for the far post. This time, no player headed for the second area. Instead, one of the players initially marked by an opponent darted into the first space. He managed to get his head to the ball, which then rebounded off the post right to Gertrude, who easily slotted it into the net. And then there's yet another example of how Feyenoord confronts a zonal marking system, this time targeting the space at the far post. You can observe how certain players strategically attack the two spaces, but you might wonder, how do they know where the ball is going to be crossed? It's quite simple. Have you noticed how players often raise one or two hands before taking a set piece? That's their way of signaling where they plan to send the cross. In this case, it was aimed at the far post. In this instance, it was Gertrude who connected with the cross at the far post. His attempt struck the post, then the ball bounced over Hancho, who successfully finished the action. Now, while we've mentioned zonal marking in our previous examples, what we actually saw was a hybrid approach combining elements of both zonal and man marking. Let us give you a clearer example of this hybrid strategy in action. Notice how 6 Hercules players are covering the 6-yard box, while 2 others are engaged in man marking specific Feyenoord players. In such a tightly controlled space, Feyenoord's players had to carve out their own opportunities, and they did just that. The players who were marked made straight runs towards the 6-yard box, pulling their markers along with them and thus opening up the spaces. Meanwhile, Hancho hung back initially and then made a diagonal run to meet the cross in the newly freed space. Here's another similar instance. Players aggressively pushed forward to create space, while another player hung back, perfectly timing his run to meet the cross. Notice the recurring theme here. It always comes back to targeting the 3 space. If it is available, use it. If not, create it. But what if the area is too crowded for the opposition? Well, in that case, Feyenoord looks for the free man. Yes, it sounds simple, right? Stick with us and we'll explain. Look how crowded the area is here, with so many players close to the 6-yard box and the goalkeeper poised to calm high crosses. It seems unlikely that an attacker would win a header, right? In such scenarios, Feyenoord's strategy is to ensure they have at least one free player. Bear with us, we'll show you how. Here, 5 Feyenoord players surge towards the 6-yard box, drawing their markers with them and forcing other defenders even deeper. Meanwhile, Quinton Timber hangs back just outside the box. Notice the substantial space Timber finds himself in when the set-piece taker opts to pass the ball to him. Despite the pass not being perfectly executed, Timber still has enough time and space to dribble and then pass the ball into the wider area, crafting a dangerous opportunity. Nothing too complicated so far, right? And that's precisely where the beauty lies. Feyenoord's approach is simple but tremendously effective, turning them into a consistent threat from set pieces. The key is for all the players to recognize the space and have a clear plan, with everyone understanding their role. This strategy is crucial for creating scoring opportunities without having all attackers crowding the same area, chasing after one ball. Arne Slot and his coaching staff deserve a lot of credit for this improvement. Earlier in the season, Feyenoord wasn't nearly as effective with their set play. During their mid-season training camp in Marbella, Spain, Slot acknowledged that the team's balance during standard situations, especially when up against top teams, could use some improvement. By standard situations, he's referring to those recurring moments in football games, including set plays. This shows his keen ability to identify and work on the weaker aspect of his team's performance. Now, we're not saying that Feyenoord's approach to set pieces is perfect. There's definitely room for more variation and improved screening patterns. However, their strategy is clearly effective, as evidenced by the impressive stat of 123 shots from set pieces in the Eredivisie alone. Now let's shift gears from attacking set pieces to defending them. Earlier we pointed out that Liverpool have conceded more goals from set pieces than several mid-table clubs. Indeed, the stats back this up. Liverpool have let in 10 goals from set plays, the same number as Crystal Palace, Brighton and Bournemouth, and more than Fulham and Brentford. The Reds have also given up an alarming 11.41 expected goals against from set pieces. When you compare this to figures from teams like City and Arsenal, it becomes clear why Liverpool struggle to remain contenders for the title down to the wire. We all remember how Everton dominated the Reds in both boxes, and just a week later, West Ham also scored from a set piece against them. On the flip side, let's look at Feyenoord. They have the second lowest XG conceded from set plays in the league, at just 4.60. Not only that, according to FBref, they also have the fewest shots against them resulting from dead ball. This includes free kicks, corners and other set plays. This stark contrast in defensive solidity from set pieces showcases another dimension of Feyenoord's disciplined approach. Yes, the leagues differ significantly, especially in terms of physicality, but Feyenoord's low numbers in set piece defense surely highlight their effectiveness and tightness in these scenarios. Unfortunately, we couldn't access footage to analyze their exact defensive setups during set play. However, if you're interested, let us know in the comments below and we might just be able to break it down for you in a future video. Again, the quality and physicality of both leagues are apparent, but it's undeniable that Arne Slot and his coaching staff know how to leverage a crucial aspect of the game, free kick. The best evidence of their prowess is how they outmaneuvered Atletico Madrid in the Champions League with their strategic play. So what do you think? Could Arne Slot be the key to enhancing Liverpool's approach to set plays, an area where they've recently struggled? His coaching alone might not be the silver bullet, as recruiting more physically adept players could be also necessary. Share your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you liked our analysis, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more Liverpool deep dives. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.